All right, so this is probably going to be a relatively short screencast for the appendicular skeleton lab page. So if you click on it, it will look like this. You have your lab guide, which looks like this. Whoops, I'm all the way at the end of mine. There, that. I have again included a link to all of these images in Dropbox. I'm not going to open these, but it's all different images from the appendicular lab skeleton for you to download and make flashcards out of if you want to. So that's what this is here. So I'll just go over what you need to know relatively quickly. It's anatomy. There's not a lot for me to explain, but I have included here a little bit of extra work, which will include some explanation that is hopefully a little bit more engaging than me just pointing at pictures. So we'll go over that probably last. So first up, just looking at the lab guide, go over what you want to know. Primarily what you're doing is identifying bones and bone markings. We're not worried about the difference between the male and the female pelvis. And we did a fetal skeleton last week. So it's just I say, all of the bones in the appendicular skeleton. Not every single one, actually, but the bones that we want you to know. And then the 3 different kinds of cartilage. I think I'm just going to start with the 3 different kinds of cartilage because that's easiest. We have pictures here which are similar to what was in your lecture notes as part of bone tissue or appendicular skeleton. So you want to be able to identify the 3 different kinds of cartilage when you see them. And in each case, the cell type is going to be achondrocyte, and it is going to be located in a lacuna. Plural would be lacunae. I also just thought I would point out, I would like to think I've said this before, but I'm not really sure. One great way to study this is just do a Google image search, and then you just get so many different representations of each tissue type. And one of the things that I'll again point out, I think I pointed it out before, but I will point it out again. You want to get used to looking for the, what are those things called? The nuclei. So that dark thing right there is a nucleus, and that dark thing right there is a nucleus. So everywhere you see one of those little dark things is where there's a cell, and then some of these lacuna you can see, some not so much. But it gives you an idea of what the magnification is. So this is what the nuclei look like here, and then if I get this other image, I wanted this one, whoops, I don't think it opened, I'm moving too fast. Which one did I want? This one. Here, even just looking at this, you can see there's a nucleus, there's a nucleus, there's a nucleus. The nuclei are bigger. So automatically, just looking at this image, you can see that the magnification is higher. So really do get in the habit of trying to find the nuclei and then using that to orient yourself both to the magnification of the image and whether or not you've got a lot of cells or all of this blank space here, which would be extracellular matrix. That's going to help you interpret the image a little bit better. So the other place you can look is your friend Practice Anatomy Lab. So if you go for the histology, or for the cartilage I should say, go to histology. Remember, it is a form of connective tissue. And then if you click on the gallery here, you can just skip to cartilage. And it's got hyaline cartilage, This is similar to what our hyaline cartilage is going to look like. This is maybe a little bit closer. Ours is more of a light purple like this one here, only this image is magnified way more than we're going to get on our microscopes. It doesn't say what the magnification is, but that's got to be like 800 times magnification or more. I want to go back to the gallery. So they've got lots of good hyaline cartilage. Their fibrocartilage is a little tricky. This is the most difficult out of all the cartilage, of all the cells slides you're going to see this semester. This is the most difficult one to identify just because it doesn't have really well-defined structure. And depending on where in a slide you're looking and which example of fibrocartilage you have, it's going to look a little different. I tend to think that in our lab, fibrocartilage looks kind of like maybe this one here. That's not a very good picture. I'm not going to be able to find a really good picture. But this here, if we can get, let me see if we can get that big. Let's just, yeah. So if you look here, you can see kind of some streakiness. Our fibrocartilage slides, I think, looks like a croissant in that you can actually see actual collagen fibers, and it looks like all the flaky layers of a croissant. And then just imagine a croissant with, I don't know, some chunks of pistachio in it, like the, oh, what's that? Baklava, the phyllo dough with the pistachio, and the syrup, which is really tasty. I think it looks a little bit like baklava. I hope I'm saying that right. I have the right thing. At any rate, those are some places you can look for fibrocartilage, hyaline cartilage, and elastic cartilage. Elastic cartilage, let me get back to practice anatomy lab, should be easy to identify because it's going to look like this. This is what our elastic cartilage looks like. And you can see all of the dark purple in there. That is the elastic fibers, and they always stain dark. I don't know what the stain is, but the elastic fibers stain dark, and it makes elastic cartilage pretty easy to identify. So that's the cartilage. Then, if we just go back to the lab guide, again, I'm not going to go into this in a lot of detail. What you want to pay attention to is what's in the activities, right? This tells you what you need to know. So these are the parts of the scapula and the clavicle that you need to know. And if you keep going, these are the parts of the humerus and the ulna. It looks like a lot, but it's really, a lot of it is repetitive. So the proximal end, you want to be able to identify the olecranon. And then posterior view, also proximal end, olecranon. So everything is labeled twice, anterior view, posterior view. So it's really not as many items as you think it's going to be on each bone. So identify all the bones and all the parts of the bones. When it comes to the hand, this I will just point out, we have made things a little bit easier on you. You don't have to know all of the names of the carpals. These are just a group, the carpals. And then the metacarpals, those are just a group. You don't even need to know their numbers, just know those are metacarpals. And then all of the bones in your fingers are phalanges. You do need to know proximal, middle, and distal. But again, there's a whole lot of bones that you don't need to know. And then moving along, I'm going to go through this quick, right? There's the pelvis. And I just want to get to the foot. Because the foot, right, like the Can't speak. Like the hand, you don't need to know every of the tarsals, but 2 of the tarsals you do want to know by name. So all of these bones here are your tarsals, or all of these bones here. 2 you want to know. The one on top is the talus, and then this one, which makes up your heel, is the calcaneus. So these 2 tarsals, you're identifying by name. The others are just part of a group, and then metatarsals and phalanges as a group, proximal, middle, and distal. And that's that. That's really all I am going to say about the skeleton. If you want a little bit more what should I focus on type stuff, that is really what the lab report is for. So if you click on that, it should look like this, and it's a simple lab report this week. I've just taken just the activities and highlighted the parts of the anatomy that are most likely to show up on the exam. So everything here that's highlighted you want to label. So label the scapula, and then on it label the acromion and the coracoid process. The glenoid cavity might show up on the exam, but it's going to be hard to label on your skeleton. So what you want to focus on is what's highlighted, and if there's an articular surface, like the glenoid cavity, but it's not highlighted, it's still important. I just didn't highlight it because your skeleton is put together, and so it's hard to get labels in between where 2 joints are meeting. But you do want to know all of the articulations or all of the surfaces where 2 bones meet. So this is your lab report. You're just going to go through your skeleton and affix labels to all of the parts here that are highlighted. Take as many pictures as you need to take to get all of them in reasonable good focus, and then paste them into your lab report and submit that. So that's pretty straightforward. Then, I think just to give you something else to do and a little explanation if you want explanation, I have given you another homework assignment in mastering. It is graded, but I think you get 3 guesses per question with no penalty for guessing, and you can even try and do the whole thing again if you don't like your grade. It's worth 7 points, so I'm expecting everybody's going to get 7 out of 7. It's not hard. So what happens is you click on it, and then this should show up in a second. Then you're going to click on, just start with the first one. And I'm sorry, clavicle ended up last. It should have been up here with scapula, but I wasn't going to do it, and then I did it, so I picked it last and it ended up at the bottom there. But just start at the top, click your scapula. There we go. Then what you're going to want to do, this is important, when it comes time to watch the animation, open it in a new tab. It just makes your life easier. Then they are going to explain the scapula to you.
Of the scapula. Let's examine the major
and then after listening to the explanation, you will come and answer these questions. And when you're done answering questions on the scapula, you hit next, and it'll take you to the ulna. There's the lovely ulna. And again, open in a new tab, watch the video, answer the questions. So that gives you a little more something to do. Also, I should point out, sorry, I'm in such a hurry today and I don't know why. Again, if you are looking for a way to study this, Practice Anatomy Lab is going to be your friend again. So if you go Anatomical Models, Appendicular Skeleton, it's got everything broken down by different parts of the body. We can start with the pectoral girdle. That's clavicle and scapula. So it's got Whoops, my mouse is freezing up on me. I don't like the new adapter I had to buy. It's weird. But clavicle, I think, oh, this is just doing clavicle. Oh no, it is doing, it won't do the whole scapula, but it will do clavicle. So you can just work your way through all this and learn the different parts of your clavicle and your scapula, and then work through the whole skeleton this way if you want to. Again, you can quiz yourself, you can do practicals, and then remember also for this, sorry, I know I'm skipping around a lot, go back to the home. Oh, that's not it. Oh, I can't get there. But remember, when you first go to the study area page, that's where you can access the ability to make flashcards. So you can do flashcards for the appendicular skeleton and practice anatomy lab too. So if you just go, where is that? My lab and mastering, just in case anybody forgets. Oh, that's right. Okay, I know how to find it now. Study area. Launch the study area. And practice anatomy lab flashcards. And there are lab videos where they explain all the bones and stuff too, so I would play around in here because they have a lot in here for you to look at. So like bone dissection videos, here's bone videos. So there's a video for every bone in the body if you want explanation. More interactive than I can make it because I don't have really nice images that are highlighted and good audio. So that is all there to help you. So again, let me get back to, sorry, I'm skipping all over the place. Is this, I lost the lab page. Let's just click on the lab. So again, you've got your lab report and your appendicular lab work. That's the thing in mastering. You can access from the modules page or from the appendicular skeleton lab page. Lab guide, images, lab report, mastering lab work is all there. Pretty straightforward. I guess that's it. Good luck with this week's lab.